a structure of mystical and alien origin, emanating particles of abstract perspectives and reflection into the expansive nightscape to those who know where to listen. This is Monolith to Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. All right, let's get into this.
Okay.
So, hello everybody, welcome back to Monolith to Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. I am Manuel, and again, here is Trey Spells.
Hello.
All right, here
What
back.
what episode are we on now? Is it 4 or 5?
Yeah, number 4.
Number 4. All right. Sweet.
Yeah. So
Good.
we're back again to be talking about stuff we saw over the past week.
Some movies.
Oh yeah, actually saw kind of a few.
Me too, but we can't always talk about all of them. It would take too long.
Not all the. I don't watch as many movies as you do. I'm kind of picky. Also,
True.
just lazy.
True.
But at least the ones that I have seen, they are quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's always good. I usually watch more movies that are like too popular that everyone is already talked about. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I try to
Avoid.
I tend to avoid that.
Yeah, and that's what's good because you find some rare movies that I'm just like, damn, that's what makes me a movie lover. Like that's what defines a movie lover, and even inspirational movies that you want to even watch or even try to react. Like it brings that energy back. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And that's usually what I try to find in a movie. I want to spend my time with something that'll actually get me feeling kind of amped up. Maybe amped up in a more tense way, maybe amped up in a more kind of inspirational way.
Mm-hmm.
All in all, I kind of just want to feel good after watching a movie. And then when I think back on it, it gets better and better.
Yeah, it's your movies are one hell of an experience. I'm telling you. I honestly, like, dude, if I didn't know you, if I didn't know you, I probably wouldn't have heard of half of the movies that you've seen, and then I end up finding out that they were popular just on a different level of people, you know? Yeah. So that's always great.
And you're always really good at finding just stuff that I probably would have skipped over otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, I keep it basic, but I do my best. I watch a lot of older movies, too. That's what's kind of funny. I try to find 90s, 80s movies that had some pop culture to it.
Usually, if I have my eyes set on an older movie, it's because it's, super controversial or it's been tucked away for being too dangerous to the public or whatever. And then somebody finds it, and then they bring it back and redistribute it. Or publish it.
What would be like an example of like that, like a controversial film?
I think Roar was like that.
So Roar like that, yeah. Until someone brings it up again. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm not too sure if it had much of a release, physical media home release. Mm-hmm. The new release, I think it came out in 2015 through, I think the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema even. Was the one that distributed it.
They played that?
Yep.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wish I would have seen it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They did, but still just as good to watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't bad. It was good quality.
Oh, yeah. Great quality.
Yeah. So
the first movie I saw this past week was Uncut Gems on Netflix.
Ooh.
I've actually been wanting to watch it for some time, mainly because it's directed by the Sophie brothers. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that name. Mm-hmm.
Starring Adam Sandler.
Yes. And
is not your type of Adam Sandler comedy.
Nope. No, there's no Rob Schneider, no Kevin James, no David Spade.
Right. God, I didn't even think about that.
The gang's not there. It's just Adam Sandler, his family, and a bunch of New Yorkers and people from Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And I mainly wanted to see this because, like I said, it was directed by the Sophie brothers, who previously directed Good Time. with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's on Netflix too, right?
It is, actually. I didn't even know it, but I have the Blu-ray of it, and I just found out recently it was on Netflix.
It's a perfect time that Uncut Gems came on Netflix, as most people are talking about it already.
Especially since beforehand, like I want to say like a month or two before it came out on Netflix, it was actually on Netflix for the rest of the world, just not the US region.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because I was hoping it would get on Netflix, and then I saw on Twitter that it was on Netflix, but when I checked the trending tab for it, it was just people talking about why is it not in the US. It's available for the rest of the world, but not the US.
So that's what kept the buzz going on over here. It's almost like it sparked up a little buzz, like, yo, have you seen this movie? And I rented it from the Redbox, so that's probably what happened. Like, I rented the Redbox the same time it came out from the other countries before the Netflix came out with it.
Lucky you were able to see the movie well before I did. I was actually going to try to see it when it was just about to leave theaters, but then the lockdown hit. And it's causing theaters to close down.
Yeah.
So right as Justin and I drove up to the theater, there was a notice saying that it was closed. So.
Yep. It's been harsh times. Still have not reopened. Hopefully one day we'll get back to that.
But finally got around to seeing it, and I would say it's definitely worth the wait.
Yeah. It's I liked hearing about the buzz about it first. So that was kind of nice.
Like, I think you mentioned something that it has the most F-bombs than any other movie out right now.
That's right, I did say that. That was a long time ago when I said that. I think I heard about that before I saw the movie, and I had and then I watched it. I was like, oh, wow, fact check. It really was a lot of F-bombs.
Oh, yeah, they love dropping that F-bomb.
A lot of talking over talking, too.
That's one of the interesting things about it. Everybody was able to, all the actors were able to kind of just, keep, in their character, even though everybody's yelling at everybody. There's 3 different conversations going on in like the same confined jewelry store space. And everybody's just knocked it out of the park. From what I hear, most of the actors in the movie are actually, for the most part, playing as themselves. And the way the Sophie brothers would write their characters is once they got an actor, they would write the character around them and adjust their direction around the person. I saw a headline somewhere that said that Adam Sandler was actually given the role for Uncut Gems 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
So I didn't actually read the article, so I couldn't find out what the holdup was. Maybe he just wanted to direct, Grown Ups 2 or something.
Probably something, yeah. Something Netflixy.
But finally came around to it, and yeah.
I even heard too. The jewelry shop was also like a real jewelry shop too. So I found that kind of interesting. Yeah,
and mostly the pawners. Like Adam Sandler goes to the pawn shop. They're actual people working in a pawn shop.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And also you have Kevin Garnett, the NBA player. He was like actually surprisingly good, and he was just playing as himself.
Yeah, he played his role pretty good. You couldn't even tell he was acting. It was very, very smooth.
Like you imagine that being told, just be yourself, just act like how you would act.
Yeah.
You would imagine that that seems simple enough, but actually going into it, you're just kind of like, wait, how do I act? How would I act in this situation?
Yeah, he pulled that off pretty well. I like that.
There's a couple things I want to get into about it, of how the theme of what an uncut gem was kind of like played out throughout the movie. So you start off in the beginning in a mine, and you have miners find this opal.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the center point of the whole movie. The camera zooms into the opal, going down to like the molecular structure.
Yeah.
And it keeps going down, further down. Later on, Adam Sandler has a line saying that if you look in deep enough, you can see the universe in that opal. But once it goes in deep enough, it starts zooming out, and then it zooms out to Adam Sandler getting a colonoscopy.
Yeah. And it's like you can kind of, when you're watching that scene, you're like, oh, I hope it doesn't come to that level. But it's like, okay, now it's starting to look like a colonoscopy or something going on there.
Like what? Like I hope that's not what I think it is.
Yeah.
It is.
But it is.
I thought it was really funny, a little on the nose, but I just wanted to see how it would play out. And then it does that again, about almost 10 minutes in. It does it with Kevin Garnett. When he's looking at the opal, it zooms in and the camera again goes down to the molecular structure. And then Kevin Garnett starts seeing pictures of him, like American history, just all these flashes of his personal life, as well as just like successful historical happenings.
Yeah. And
at that point, I was thinking, okay, when are they gonna do the third one, and what are we gonna see in that? And we don't actually get that until the very end of the movie. A little kind of spoiler warning for like the next kind of 5 seconds after Adam Sandler gets shot and killed at the very end.
Yeah.
And then it zooms in on the bullet wound. And that's actually the last shot of the movie. It zooms in on the bullet wound. And then we start to see his blood vessels, his bloodstream. And then we start seeing the opal. And then we see the universe, which ties into the line that I mentioned earlier, or that Adam Sandler mentioned earlier, saying that you could see the universe in that uncut gem. And from what I can see, what the movie is getting at is that the movie itself is calling Adam Sandler's character an uncut gem. But what is an uncut gem? Well, because the gem is just a rock. It's all about the value that you put into it. And the value that Adam Sandler was putting into that gem, that opal, was just monetary. Just he wants to get it so that he could sell it for, like, auction it off for 10 times what he paid for it.
Yeah.
That way he'd have, just all this money. So he only saw kind of like monetary value, like nothing. Money's great and all, but it's not as a honorable or nobler perspective than Kevin Garnett's perspective on the opal, which is he sees himself in it. He sees
him
like what he can become,
winning games, and becoming a champion again. Yeah,
he sees a drive in himself to do better, and that's why he's become so fixated on the opal, because he feels like that's what can help him win.
Yeah. So what about how are you saying when Adam Sandler was looking into the opal, what did he see again?
He just saw monetary value.
Monetary value. He couldn't see any visions, right?
Exactly. And now that I think about it, it never did that for him. All we ever get is that when it zooms in the beginning of the movie, it just comes out of Adam Sandler's ass.
Right.
And that actually makes me think about the alchemy scene in The Holy Mountain, where the alchemist Alejandro, he asks the thief if he wants gold. The thief, of course, says yes. So they do this kind of alchemy science experiment where the alchemist has the thief take a shit in a bowl, and then using alchemy, these giant tubes.
Oh, I remember that scene now.
Kind of like sweating out, in the sauna, and they do all this stuff, and it metamorphosizes that shit into gold.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of it, the alchemist tells the thief, "You are excrement, but you can turn yourself into gold." And then when they present a mirror to him, the thief is just so appalled by what he sees, he throws the shit gold in the mirror and breaks it. Like you just got told that you're a piece of shit, and he actually took that to heart. But mainly because he felt like he could actually, make himself better. He could turn himself into gold. And that's the kind of vibe I get from Uncut Gems. And so that was the one thing that I thought was the most interesting, was just those kind of themes with the opal. And it's all about perspective. It's just about what you make of things, and you can't let things like monetary value like lead you astray, which is what happens to Adam Sandler's character throughout the movie. He keeps making all these bets. He keeps borrowing money. Yes. He keeps potting money.
You feel bad for him. You feel good for him. You root him on. You're like, what the hell are you doing the next minute?
Maybe other people, but to me, and this is the second thing I wanted to get into about the movie, is I hardly had any sympathy for the character.
Yeah.
Now I felt the Adam Sandler, the actor, give it his all, and he did great. I felt really good about how he acted, and he had his ups and downs and how he reacted in every situation, even like in the funny moments and the kind of like the cringier moments with his family.
Yeah.
That was all. His performance was impeccable, but I felt no sympathy for his character.
Yeah,
it could just be me. He's messing up in all these parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Or he'll have his shot, but then it'll get taken away.
Yeah, he's making a lot of bad bets. He's paying
bad bets. I mean, they usually pay off well.
He's paying people off, but they're different people.
Exactly. Or he'll I know there was one point where he tried to pay off another debtor, but he gave him a fake Rolodex.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Just stuff like that.
Maybe if he didn't do that, it would have went a total different way. And that's what I think I kind of look at, too. Maybe like, if you do something a different way, you're going to get a different outcome. But not what he was in.
Mm-hmm. He's trying everything he possibly could to try to fix it. Yeah. Even though we all know, watching the audience, it's just the audience knows it's just, this is just gonna make it a whole bunch more worse. He's just making the situation worse for himself. And
it just reminds me when he brought the ring to the pawn shop to get that money, and then he ends up taking that money to pay somebody else back, but now he has that ring stuck at the pawn shop, so it's like he made somebody happy for a moment, then he's creating another problem. Like, it was just up and down.
And because he keeps doing all these kind of risky bets and whatever, maybe it was just me, but I was just waiting for it to all just crumble down on top of him.
Yeah.
It does at the end, very suddenly.
Right.
But to be honest, to me, I felt like Good Time had more on the line than Uncut Gems did.
Yeah.
Because throughout the whole movie, it wasn't until at the very end that those Brooklyn guys were threatening to do something to his family, and then Adam Sandler calls in telling him, "Hey, so the landlord, apartment complex landlord called. He says there's a gas leak. You guys should leave."
Yeah.
And the debtors could have done that throughout the whole movie, but they didn't do it until the very, very end.
Yeah.
So honestly, all that was really on the line was just on this one character, just on Adam Sandler. But in Good Time, you had Robert Pattinson's brother who's in custody. Robert Pattinson's trying to get him out of jail, but he keeps running into all these people and just ruining the lives of everybody that he runs into in one night.
Yeah, and it had more adrenaline to it.
Uncut Gems kind of took it a little more slower, mellower.
Yeah, I could see that mellow pacing itself.
It definitely had a lot more scenes where it kind of just paused, kind of the tension. It's like, we gotta bring this in now. It stirred the pot in its own way still, but it was still a pause from it.
Yeah,
and that was my only other thing with the movie. I just felt like all the suspense was on the one character and not everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of made the tension kind of drop, at least for me.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about that?
I think listening to a few reviews and then listening to yours had the most deeper conscious meaning of the whole story, which is interesting. And that's what's kind of interesting on some of these movies. You have more of a conscious review compared to other movie reviews. And so I found that interesting. I just noticed it when after this one, well, during this one, you describe a movie differently, and that's what I think could make this podcast here a little different.
That's what I hope to try to do. Is just we have our own different perspectives than maybe a lot of other people have on these kind of movies. So I just hope to try to get that up there.
Yeah,
get people
honestly,
get people thinking.
I could do that with basic movies. You know what I mean? But and it like movies that have like a lot more symbolism in it, or like something's going on. It gives you more of an understanding.
Those ones I feel like I could talk more about. Any like basic movies, I could just say, well, yeah, just basic.
It's just right in your face.
That's all I could say about it. Yep.
Yeah. You're talking more of conscious of like these subconscious movies.
Oh yeah.
And the other ones are just like, oh, we're doing our best to show it right here in your face. But the other ones you got to think about. I can't follow that on Uncut Gems, but I think most people would get the point. What would you rate it out of 10?
Out of 10, I gave it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? I'm going to have to go with a solid 8 too.
Solid movie.
If they could have added a little bit more adrenaline pieces to it, I think that would have peaked at a 9, you know?
Maybe.
The love story was a little weird, I found, but...
Oh yeah, an awkward affair.
Awkward affair, a family that's...
Especially when she starts doing coke with The Weeknd. I loved that scene where him and Adam Sandler started fighting each other.
Oh my gosh.
I was not expecting that. It was amazing.
He's like, who is this guy?
Who the fuck is The Weeknd?
It's only Thursday. Oh man, yeah.
It's 2012 and he's from Canada. You know, maybe he'll start popping off.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with some 8s on that one.
So the second movie I saw this week was a documentary called Scream Queen.
Scream Queen.
It's a Shudder exclusive. It came out just in time for Pride Month, and the reason I say that is because if the movie solely focuses on the actors, directors, writers for Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge. And the reason for all the pride and joy for that movie is because watching it, you get a great sense of homoeroticism just throughout the movie. I'm sure you've seen all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
I've seen, I think the first one at least, and then bits and pieces with the other ones. I've seen the newest one. Yeah. The one where they remade it or something like that. I know I've seen that for sure. But the other ones I just always see on TV, and I just don't know which part is which movie. Same thing with Jason.
So, but I gotta tell you, there is a lot going on in Nightmare on Elm Street 2 that you're just like, did they mean to do this? Or did this happen on accident? Like, there's like a lot of the more infamous scenes from the movie is in the boys' locker room at a high school where Freddy actually strips a teenager naked, and he has him like strapped by his wrists on like the shower faucets, and he makes a towel float and start whipping on his ass. So you got some BDSM going on in that, and while the male lead is watching it and freaking out, shrieking like a scream, like the movie says, Scream Queen, but usually they're women, but. The documentary does make an emphasis that this one has the first male Scream Queen, and there's other scenes include a really provocative dance number where he's just dancing in his room and he's swaying his hips around. He has some kind of toy popper that he kind of like fidangles on his crotch.
Oh, jeez.
And then there's also a scene at a BDSM bar. Which was filmed at an actual gay bar, and the director didn't even know that it was a gay bar that they were filming in. It is so funny because throughout the movie, the director, he keeps talking. He's just, me and the crew, we had no idea up until after we did the red carpet screening, and everybody started talking about how how like wonderfully gay the movie was, and we were just thinking, whoa,
how wonderfully
do we
gay.
actually do that? And it is wonderfully, like, wonderfully gay, because a lot of people found a lot of fun in that, and the movie and the documentary also makes a good point to go over how fans of the movie, like, in a sense, help them to get out of the closet, help them to be more social, to be more into horror films as well, because a lot of horror movies have a lot of subtext for gay, transgender, queer, what have you, LGBT. So I thought that aspect was great in the movie too, and he also goes into the backlash of it because it came out in the 80s, right before the AIDS epidemic.
Oh geez.
So because of that, and because of all the backlash and the timing of the movie release, the lead actor actually went out in hiding for like 30 years in Mexico.
Oh jeez. Really
well made documentary, really fun documentary, especially if you're a fan of if you're just a fan of the not just the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but the community of it behind it.
Yeah.
So definitely give that a watch. Check it out.
It looks interesting. I'm watching the trailer right now, and it looks like it was a whole like shit fest going on, with everything. Like you said, it probably had to be rougher in the 80s when it was coming out. But it looks like looks like a well-filmed documentary.
And Justin and I were actually talking a bit about. He made up a point saying, because there's a side story that Mark Patton, he wanted to talk with the writer of the movie, because the writer was the only person to not own up to the homoerotic nature of the film. He kept blaming the lead actor for it. He kept blaming the director, but Mark insisted that he did write the movie in that way, either to be homoerotic or homophobic, which I actually kind of felt that it was like trying to like bring like the homophobia kind of scare tactic. The writer claimed that he wrote it to be subtle, but watching the movie, it was anything but subtle. It was so in your face about it.
Like the scene you just described to me, if you were to write it, doesn't sound like that, but if you were to film it, it's like, okay.
And perhaps that could be the case, because the director is open about how he was directing the scenes like this, and he had no idea just how far he was taking it.
Oh, okay.
That, in a sense, was like part of the backlash. It was part of why the main actor went into hiding for like 30 years. And Justin brought up an interesting point. He said, well, why did it take him so long to finally get out of hiding and confront the writer about this? Because they actually do get Mark Patton and the writer like sitting down together to kind of like talk it out, and the writer does apologize, about he didn't intend to ruin anybody's life writing the movie this way or in any way.
Now, is that filmed in the documentary? Is that conversation?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that even makes it more better.
And my thoughts on that were that perhaps this was the perfect time for him to come out of hiding, for Mark to come out of hiding. There's a lot of
especially
kind of revolution
nowadays.
There's quite a bit of a revolution going on. I would say within the last decade, there's more and more of an embracing of people with different sexualities, different orientations, different preferences.
Yeah.
And doing this probably like maybe even 5 years ago, it probably wouldn't have had as much of an impact back then, but I would feel like it would definitely be more relevant and highly viewed now.
But to hold on to that for like 30 years, is it 30 years, 40 years?
It was just about.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's see, 85. Yeah, 85, 1985.
So it's almost 40 years, right?
Yep, almost 35.
And to be alive still that long to then finally film something like that's just wild. Yep. Mm-hmm. That makes it more interesting to see that.
Yeah. So Scream Queen on Shudder.
Scream Queen. I'm gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna have to check it out.
I highly recommend it. So that wraps us up for movies that I've seen. Trey, what have you seen?
Well,
what do you have to talk about?
I did watch a Disney movie. I don't watch many Disney movies, especially animation ones. Usually it's with my nephew or something. I think that's just all that they're coming out with now. It's just animated movies. If it's like either I think you're right. Yeah,
Pixar or just straight up Disney now.
I think on Disney Plus they've been coming out with like shows and stuff and documentaries rather than like live movies. But I watched this live animation movie because it was recommended to me. So I was like, okay, I don't really get recommended an animation movie, so I'll check it out. Well, it took a month to go check it out, but I think it came out March this year, and it came out straight to like VOD, so it didn't even. Oh, that's cool. I don't even think it hit theaters. It was supposed to. It's I think it's directed by. What is it? It's called Onward.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't even say the title of it. But yeah, it's called Onward, and it's directed by Dan Scanlon or something like that. He doesn't got too much in his movies. He directed Monsters University. So
really?
I think that's about it though. But you know how long these Disney movies take. It stars Tom Holland and Chris Pratt and Julius Louis Dreyfus, whatever her name is. Basically, she's Elaine from Seinfeld. So
okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So it's got some cast members on there.
Yeah.
But it's about two elf brothers, and one's kind of quirky and immature and having too much fun. The other one's kind of like real quiet and trying to be he's very logic, and so they're raised by their one mother. I think their father passed away, and it's the younger brother's birthday, which is played by his name is Ian Lightfoot, played by Tom Holland, and he gets a staff stick, whatever you want to call it. Wizards carry around. He gets it from his mother, and she goes, this is we were waiting for your birthday one day to have your father told me to give you this, and they do, or she does, and they start him and the brother start to mess around with it, and then they realize it has some power to it, and they can bring back their father for a day. So
no.
And which I guess the younger brothers never met, but the older brother had somewhat of a connection. I think he met him when he was younger, but the younger brother never
knew him when he was younger. Okay.
Yeah, so they used the crystal, and I think it came with a crystal too. So they used the crystal, put it in the staff. They were trying to figure out how to use the magic out of it. They kind of get far, but it only builds up from his waist level. Like it was starting to create him, but it stopped at the waist level. So now you're only just getting legs walking around.
He's just legs?
Yeah. Yeah. They don't finish the body because the crystal got too strong and it just broke.
What?
Yeah, so I forgot how they had to go find it, but that's what the whole movie's about, is them going to go find this crystal to complete the rest of their father, which is interesting.
Just legs?
Yeah. So they even take him with them too. And they got this like weird old ass van. So they take them. They're just on a journey throughout the whole movie with them, the two brothers and their dad, which are just legs for now. And he can walk around. They even dress him up like he's got a full body, but he doesn't know where he's going. But they did make connections though to like know who each other were. So it's like they didn't make that connection. So yeah, there's just a long journey, and I don't know if I want to talk about the end, but should I talk about the end?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Because I haven't really seen the trailers for it. I think I saw a bit of the teaser when it came out. Yeah. But I don't remember legs.
Yeah, I don't think that was part of the trailer.
just from
that's the whole story too.
Because just from like the idea of it is so it's just fantasy, but in our modern present day setting,
right?
And it's
yeah. There's no humans in it either. Yeah,
and that's all I really got out of it. It's just like, okay, so it's just kind of like doing what the other Disney movies are doing. Or at least, well, some of them are doing. They're just kind of like, what if we take this and put it into this, like the Pixar movies are always like, what if bugs have feelings? What if toys had feelings? What if cars had feelings? That whole
now it's like, legs
idea premise. Now it's what if legs have feelings? So I don't think is it a Pixar movie?
It's I don't know if it's a Pixar.
Okay.
I don't know if it tells me.
I know Disney is making their own 3D animated movies.
But I know the animation was so nice. It was very nice.
It seemed nice.
The best animation I've seen is Toy Story 4. I couldn't tell if some of the images were like real life. That's how like some of the animation was using. And
no, I haven't seen Toy Story 4. I did see some shots and comparisons, especially from comparisons to the first Toy Story.
Oh, to the new one?
Yeah, like they'll have like I don't know if there's a cat in Toy Story 1, but I have seen the cat in Toy Story 4, and it's just lifelike.
It's very lifelike, right?
It's so insane. Just how it looked.
So that's when I saw this one. It had very lifelike features. Like there was a car chase on the highway. I'm just like, this looks like a real highway. Doing all these crazy things. I'm like, only in an animation they can make that car chase happen.
The way it did. It's like magic spells, I guess.
Yeah, and then,
they don't use guns. They just go lightning bolt.
Yeah, lightning bolt. Well, they're getting chased by fairies, and the little fairies are little tiny.
Do they have to roll like 20-sided dice to see like if they get arrested?
No, but they do get pulled over. But they use a spell to disguise themselves as their stepdad. And their stepdad is actually a cop. But
oh no.
But then like you have to tell the truth for the spell to work, and then the cops start looking at them like so he had a problem with lying, and so every time he would lie, like some type of feature would come out as him not lying. So then they end up getting back in their car, and then that's when the whole another chase goes on.
I bet I could work around that. I'm pretty good with like kind of like twisting the truth to like, so I could just like come across what they want to hear, but still just be like, well, I told you this already.
Yeah, exactly.
I just told it in my way.
Yeah, but they were doing very good at that. And I even think something came up like, is your brother a loser or something like that? And he just that caused some drama right there. But yeah, they're on this whole journey to go find this crystal, and then but when they do get the crystal, they cause a curse, which is a big dragon made up out of smoke, and the smoke just grabs anything that's near it and it creates itself as a dragon. So that part was kind of corny.
Dragon.
Yeah, but
I bet it looked cool though.
Yeah, I'll spoil the movie. I'll spoil the end just because I wasn't happy with the ending. So, they defeat the dragon, and they both did their part. But the younger brother, he gets trapped in a rumble, and all he can see is like throughout little peepholes, outside. And the older brother puts the crystal in the staff, and he gets to see the full dad. So the older brother gets to see the full dad. The younger brother only gets to meet him or see him. Doesn't even get to meet him, but only sees him from a distance. And that was it. That was his. It's like he worked so hard throughout this whole film to meet his dad, and he only gets to see him from a distance. But the movie plays it off like it's still okay. Like the older brother got to meet him. He's like, oh, let me give you a hug. That's what he told me to give you. I'm just like, no. That's like, you worked hard. You went through chases.
You fought a smoke dragon.
Yeah, and
buried in rubble. You don't even get to meet your dad.
Yeah, only the older brother does. The big smart.
And he already knew him when he was younger.
Mm-hmm. So the one that never got to meet his dad didn't get them still not meet him. So they kept that storyline.
That's not fair.
Yeah. But
oh man,
being a Disney movie, I was supposed to say DreamWorks. Maybe if it was a DreamWorks movie, it'd be a little bit different, right? They make animation still,
maybe.
don't
they? Yeah. Yeah. They still do.
Not as many, though.
Only it would have Smash Mouth in it. So, if DreamWorks made it.
That's right. But if for this being a Disney animation movie, it's definitely not for like kids, is what I notice. It's more for like, I would say at least maybe if a teenager is still into animation films, because it has to do with like not having a dad, you know. And I don't think kids can process that, like having fun with it. They want to see like you know, like they want to see fun films, you know, like Toy Story. Or like sing along songs like Moana or something like that. They want or The Incredibles. You know, they don't want a story like, I don't have my dad throughout the whole movie and this is my story to go find him. So and then dealing with magic too. So I thought that was kind of different from the other Disney movies.
And I get that, but I feel like there's a lot of kids that are growing up without without a mom or without a dad or without their parents even. So I'm pretty sure, you know, it's a movie, you know, for them to kind of, because a lot of adults especially view animation as just for kids instead of what it actually is, which is it's just a medium.
Yeah,
it's just a medium. It's not even you can't even. It's not even It's not a genre even. It's its own medium, much like how there's like feature length film, short film. Writing, or you know, like literature, books, comic book, like audio, like music. It's just its own form of media. So because of that, you could still do whatever you want with it, present it however you want, because you know there are a lot of animated kid shows, animated kid movies. But there's also animations for adults. Most of the time, though, they're associated, you know, with like sex and fart jokes. Yeah,
and you think that's what this could have been? Like, it could have been like an all ages type movie. You know, like, hey, maybe you're watching this with your kid, but you might relate to this story too.
It's all ages in the sense that it doesn't treat kids like they're lesser. Than like, you know, an adult, you know, or someone older.
Well, because like if I show this movie to like a, let's see, 8 years and younger, 7-year-old and younger, I know if I showed it to my nephew he'd get bored. You know what I mean? Like it's not it's too much storytelling in the movie. Like where Toy Story, he don't care what the story is, even though he's 6. He don't care what the story is. Like he just wants to see them have fun. He's gonna connect with which character he wants to. You know.
And I'm sure there's a lot of, you know, people like younger or older that, you know, just might not be into it, and that's fine.
Yeah, and it's funny that I got it recommended to. It's just like, this is it was a adultish type energy to it, you know, compared to
that's pretty
compared
cool.
to a kid film, which is interesting. And I actually think
I wasn't expecting to hear that.
Yeah, and I think it was the first animation film that before the pandemic Disney put out.
Oh yeah.
So what do you know?
I guess so.
Wasn't meant for kids to watch in the first place. They could have pushed it back, but they're like, nah, we'll just throw this out here.
Nah, the virus like doesn't affect young people as much, so maybe, you know, it's even more for children than we thought.
Yeah, they want to show them. Give them better perspective of how reality could be, you know. Like, who's your dad playing for this Netflix or Disney Plus, you know? You're like, where's our dad? We don't have one. Can we build a magic staff and bring him back?
Thought you were gonna say, can we build a snowman?
Yeah, bring a snowman. Give him a carrot nose. But yeah, that's all in all with Onward. I give it a 7 out of 10.
7, okay.
Yeah, just because just for it being different than all the other kid type, like it wasn't like a Finding Dory or or Finding Nemo, or Toy Story or Incredibles. Like it had its own thing going on. You know what I mean? It tried to reach your emotions rather than those ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and use magic at the same time. So yeah,
magic and fantasy elements, creatures, what have you.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, that's it on that one.
Okay.
What else did we see?
For this episode's topic movie is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, directed by Ana Lily Amirpour.
That's right.
Female. Let me double check.
2014.
Yep. Came out 2014.
And she also directed Bad Batch.
Yep, that's her second feature-length movie, and Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, that was her first.
I can't wait for her third.
Right, her third is going to be I think it's in production, right? Or maybe it might be wrapping up production. It's a cliffhanger reboot, actually.
But I'm only excited for if it has the same or if it has the vibes of the same other two movies that she's made. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Yeah, but I think she's working on her own project as well. But that's what I see when I go on her IMDb, is that she is directing the reboot for Cliffhanger, which I don't know anything about it. I just know that Sylvester Stallone is in it. And I guess it's a popular 80s movie.
Well, I think it was 93. 93
oh, yeah?
to be exact.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's still pretty old.
Yeah, but from what I hear, it's pretty popular, or at least popular enough to get a reboot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can ask my mom about it. She'll be like, oh, yeah, that was a great movie. It had me on the edge of my seat.
Sylvester Stallone can hang on to that rock real good.
He's like, oh, hang on.
I gotta hold on, my hand, my fingers are slipping.
He's going, what do you mean a reboot?
Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. That's her first movie, and I gotta say, it's quite an incredible breakout movie.
So this movie came out in 2014. When did you first hear about it?
Yeah, around that time, 2014.
Okay.
I went to the Valley Art Harkins on Mill Avenue here in Tempe.
Oh, nice.
And I think that might have been one of the first movies I saw there.
The Valley Arts?
Yep.
Okay. Have I been there?
Because yeah, we went to go see the house that Jack built.
Oh, okay, the Harkins
and
right there.
Yep, and Bird Boy.
Oh, that's right. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've always driven past that theater all the time, walked past it going down Mill Avenue. I never walked in to watch anything up until A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night came out.
So that was your first movie?
Yep.
Oh, first movie there. Okay, cool. Nice. I didn't know that.
I want to say I want to say made it all the better because it seems like they only show like a couple movies at a time, maybe a documentary alongside with the kind of indie movie that might still be in like the film. They might even still be in like the film festival circuit. So you always get something kind of off the wall like this one. And I felt like that kind of made the experience all the more better because you have like-minded people going in and seeing it because they're not going there and checking something out and then maybe we have time to do this one or whatever.
Yeah.
So you get a different kind of crowd going into that theater.
And then I watched a couple of reviews how like some people were just really waiting for this movie to come to their town.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting that like, oh, you just happen to walk into this movie. So that's kind of cool.
And like, it just has that kind of like intriguing, like just its own thing going for it, especially with the tagline. What was it? It was like the first Iranian Vampire Western.
That's right. Iranian.
And I felt like it kind of like fulfilled all that to a T. And all it really is just, and from what I've seen kind of like little like interviews between like Anna and Elijah Wood, who produced the movie. They kind of like talk to each other about what's the movie's kind of about and what's in it, and she goes on to say, oh well, it's just a movie of all the things that I like. Like she cast her best friend as the vampire. So it has a lot of the soundtrack is just music that all the kinds of music she listens to.
And she's also a DJ.
What was that?
She's also a DJ. I heard. I was reading some reviews, so that's kind of cool. And you can tell you get that DJ vibe with the music.
I mean, it's
kind of nice how you make your first film with, like you said, everything she likes. And I think that's one of the best first films you can make is everything you like. Put your best friend in it. Put anybody that you just want to put in it for fun. And honestly, still make a good feature film and get it out there so much. Your second film is having Jim Carrey in it or Keanu Reeves. I think that's kind of interesting.
Momoa,
that was kind of cool. I like her story.
Yeah, like. You're making a movie, might as well just make it something you like and you want to do. And luckily, she likes vampires, but not the kind of trendy, Twilight.
It's your non-traditional
Edward Cullen kind of vampire.
Non-traditional vampires.
Non-new traditional or non-modern.
Yeah, non-modern.
Like it's still like a contemporary present day setting of 2014, but it's kind of like an older vampire. Like they don't really go into the character that much,
and I like
but you can kind of tell that she is at least that she's like much older than she looks, that she's been around for a while, because she doesn't need to. Because she hardly says a word in the movie, but she doesn't really need to say anything in order to kind of lure her victims, or to get people to do what they want for her.
And she's not all trying to be glamorous or the camera's always on her constantly. She's there just to eat, and she's not evil either. That's the funny thing too. It's like she's not an evil vampire. She just needs to eat. So I like that direction of her.
It's kind of the things that you have to think on, because another thing that's just also what's so great about this movie is the more you think on it, the better it gets, and that's honestly true. The kind of movies I try to like search for.
That's the movies I want to see that it's in your list.
Because you're thinking about her performance, or you're thinking about like her character. You're thinking about her relationship with this guy.
I like how he had a cool John Travolta from Grease, or like a James Dean style to him. That was cool.
He
came with the car too, right?
Yep. He is a greaser. He's just like a cool greaser kid, with the car, and he also makes it a point that I worked 2,000 days to get this car, and then right away it's just taken away from him. So I thought that was a great start to help you kind of feel for this character. And then once he and the girl end up meeting up, it's like the beginning of a really interesting relationship. And thinking back on that again, I feel like I want to have more movies where it's not so much about the relationship between two characters, but really the start of one. Because they're not, because they go on a date, because they meet, they hang out for the night, and then he asks her to go on a date, and then at the end of the movie they run away together. But they're not ever really like a thing. They're not really a couple. They're just they just kind of know each other.
They just had a couple moments here and there.
And I feel like that's just more compelling than trying to, establish a relationship, especially in the time span of this movie's like about 2 hours, I think.
Let's see.
So instead of trying to kind of rush a relationship, it gradually builds to the start of one.
Yeah.
And I feel like there should be more movies like that.
Yeah, because definitely
more films.
Like it's a romance film. It's a dark romance film, and
an interesting kind of romance.
It's your different type of romance that you're not gonna get throughout the film. You're just making it waits till the end.
Mm-hmm.
God, I don't even have words for it, but it's like you're right. You wait till the end to get that feeling like, hey, they're gonna have a relationship now, rather than most movies in the beginning, in the middle. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the world that it was trying to be placed in. I thought it was interesting how it's like this black and white film.
Not a lot of movies are doing that these days.
Yes, and she went for it, and it tried to create this world where like time periods didn't exist, but it created its own existence into a realm. I don't know how to explain it, but she did it, and she made her own world. It's almost like a video game type of thing. You know, like a video game wants to make its own world. We don't care what the past is or what the future is. We're making this here. That's the rules. That's how I feel like she made this.
Yeah, because it's kind of, it's like very familiar, but it's also, you just get the sense that, you know, it's just very wrong.
Yeah.
And even like about halfway through the movie, you find out that the city or town that they live in is called Bad City.
Yeah, Bad City.
Literally just Bad City.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the sense of that from the very beginning when the James Dean guy, where the greaser kid just like walks right by a pit of dead bodies. And like he doesn't even bat an eye at it. It's just, you know, the norm around here.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. It had some interesting parts like that too. It didn't seem like there was any cops there. It didn't seem like a lot of rules didn't apply.
Yeah, people. His dad was a heroin addict, and he owed money to this pimp. You have prostitutes walking around at night.
Yeah, which ended up being karma for him. So
when he ran into the wrong girl, he picked up the wrong girl.
Right, and I would say that was probably that end of his relationship with that wasn't his drug dealer, but that
ordeal, yeah,
it started a whole friendship, romantic ship on the end, which is kind of interesting. I like how that tied in, you know.
Very interesting way to meet up. Trevor, what would you do if you met a girl and you found out she was a vampire?
Well, you know, I ask her real quick, can I be one? You know, can I join? Like,
you're like, I'm already at my prime right now. I need to keep this going.
Yeah, like,
give me that immortality.
Can I join? I mean, are we supposed to still stay in love? Like, how do you die? You know, like.
Maybe if you get tired of her, you could just feed her some garlic.
Yeah, I just feel like I'd be using her then, you know, like, hey, let me be a vampire, but like, when are you gonna go? Like, are you I don't know if she has...
No, but then like if she gets tired of you, then your heart gets broken.
And I don't know, like I'm trying to think of vampire movies, like when they're in love, they're in really fucking love, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like, who taught that? Who put that in there?
You know what? Now that I think about it, maybe it's just because vampires are so old, they're so experienced that they pick
a person
over time, over that long period of time, they know what they want. They know how to treat somebody.
Dude, I get that nowadays already.
What was that?
I get that nowadays already. I know who I want. I picked the person and was like, oh, that didn't work out. Damn it, I should have been a vampire.
Yep, exactly. You know, trial and error.
She was that glamour eyes. Been a lot easier. But I think in most vampire movies, they don't really do that, right? Like, if they're trying to get to their lover, they won't use the glamorous, like, eyes, right? They don't try to...
They want that genuine love, where they don't need to manipulate. Like,
reminds me of Twilight. Like, look how fast
going out their prey.
Reminds me of Twilight. Like, look how fast I can run up this tree. You know, like, you like that? you know?
Hold on tight, spider monkey.
Yeah, but then you get vampires like Blade, where it's just like, watch me slice up all these people. Oh, wait, no one's watching? Just the audience. How was that? Buy a t-shirt. You know? Buy my movie.
Wesley Snipes.
That's what's funny about a lot of different vampire movies. And this movie was... It did it differently. That's why I liked it. It's its own vampire movie.
It's like... It is a vampire movie, but it doesn't try so hard to be one.
Yeah, exactly.
In a weird way to kind of explain it.
Like, I can't tell somebody or a friend of mine, like, hey, you want to watch a vampire movie? And then we'll put this on. To be like, where's the vampire scenes? I mean, they happen every now and then.
Yeah,
and you know, it is a slow movie. It's a slow movie, but it's not for those type of people that want to watch, like, a vampire movie or a fast-paced movie. It's kind of slow. I mean, it does pick up here and there. They don't. I think the pacing and editing was pretty good. I never got bored of one scene.
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of, it gives you enough time to just look at everything in the scene and then move on to the next scene, which is I like about movies like that.
A lot of interesting scenes, interesting moments. Like probably like the weirdest idea for a date I probably could like think of.
Yeah.
He tells the girl to meet him at an industrial plant.
Yeah.
And he's all like, "Hey, I brought you some cheeseburgers. You want some?" And she's like, "No, I don't eat cheeseburgers."
Yeah.
And then he's all like, "So I noticed you don't have your ears pierced. Here, I stole these earrings from this girl. I cleaned her pool." And then he pierces her ears.
No.
Like how do you do that? Like how do you
go up to somebody and pierce their ears?
How do you do that for their first date?
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting too. A lot of things that they were doing. I thought their love scene was interesting. It was very slow-mo.
It's just two like long shots.
So they played a song, right? And even though it's an Iranian film, they played an English song. And I think they played the whole song, is what I believe.
Yeah.
It was a very long shot, right?
Yeah. The song was Death by White Stripes. I love that song.
And it made me feel like I was just like peeking up on them. You know, like I'm no longer watching a movie, but like I'm feeling the energy here from watching this scene.
And it's also a really, really incredible like acting scene as well.
Yeah, it was,
because she's like slowly getting closer to this guy, and you feel like the connection starting to build, but you also get like a sense of dread. It's just like, oh no, is she gonna like off him right at this moment?
Yeah.
After all we've been through with him.
That's true. I forgot about that feeling. Yeah.
And then like, nope. He just goes in for a hug and like a little like lays her head on his chest, and it's just so nice. And he's just out of his mind, out of his gourd on ecstasy.
Yeah.
So just standing there like tripping at all the disco lights spinning around the room.
But that's interesting though, like even though he's on ecstasy, I'm surprised he didn't like act like a different type of dude would have acted, you know what I mean? Like, because ecstasy makes you want to like touch people, right? So it's interesting that they use that drug in the film to like, it shows even more compassion that he's having for her, or what type of person that he is. Like, hey, even though we're on drugs, I'm not gonna take advantage of you. Like, I don't know, I want to feel loved or something. I guess that's what he was trying to go for.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So, it looks like IMDb gave that a 7 out of 10. Would you agree? Go up or higher on that one?
No, I would go up higher. I would say thinking about it gets better, and I dig the soundtrack. Like I showed you the vinyl I have for it. Usually those movies I rate like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I would give it like a strong 8.
Strong
like
8.
8.5 out of 10. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10.
Okay. For me,
what about you?
Yeah. I would give it an 8, but since I don't know, I want to give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Just because I'm not yet on that level yet of understanding. but I could see why you give it an 8. You know what I mean? Like, it has so many qualities that I should give it an 8 for just like her first, like, you know, movie. You know what? I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna give her an 8. I'm gonna give her an 8 on that one.
We're at 8 and 8 again.
Yeah, 8 and 8 again. Bunch of 8s on this one.
Episode 4 is the episode of 8s.
Yep.
Would you give Onward an 8?
I give Onward a 6.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, you already said that.
I don't know. Maybe it was a 7 earlier. I couldn't remember. Was it a 6?
It was probably a 6 or a 7.
Well, whatever it is, I drop it to a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good show. Good show. That wraps it up for us tonight then.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah. Thank you everybody for listening. I'm Manuel.
And this is Trey Spells.
And we are Monolith to Mythos.
Yep.
So, catch us again next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.